So in this video we're going to demonstrate the proof of concept for Magnitude software. So the goal here was to build a disconnected application that can work with a very large amount of data while disconnected. So let's go here and we'll start out, we'll load the application. So we'll tap on this button over here. This is a PhoneGap application, and here's the application that loads up. And the first thing that you would do if you haven't previously downloaded data is you'd click this load data button here to go fetch data from the server. So right now we just have some test data over here. So we have on our server we have two files here called JSON index and JSON raw. So this is the data that would come by making a call to the web servers to get the data that you want to have while you're disconnected. So right now we basically have previously fetched the data, but if I tap this button again, we'll go back to the server and refetch the data. So you can see that fetching the data, in this case it was a 1 megabyte file, was extremely quick. But so you can see that obviously if we were fetching say a 20 or 30 or 40 megabyte file, it would still be pretty quick. So then the next thing is that the user will tap on the menu over there to get a menu that comes in from the side, and then we can go to the search menu item over here, and here are all of the records that have been loaded from the file system. So we've downloaded these files here to the device, and they're sitting now on the device, so we can work disconnected, and then we can basically scroll through the data, we can filter the data, and we can also use this special slider over here to quickly move through the data. So there could be tens of thousands of rows of data, and you can see that as you start scrolling over here you get to see a flyout that shows where you would be if you stopped scrolling now. So right now I'm in fast mode, so I can go all the way to the bottom of this list, which could be thousands and thousands of rows very quickly, or I can switch to slow mode by just moving slightly off to the left hand side now, and now I'm scrolling in slow mode, not in fast mode, and I get to see where I would be if I were to stop now. So if I click over there on Northern Fisheries, we can see this record over here, and now if I were to tap on this row over here, then what happens behind the scenes is we go back to the file system and then load the data for that record into this list over here, and then when I tap on this over here I go to the form view of this record. So here are all of the fields for that record. So there can be hundreds of fields, it doesn't really matter how many fields you have. And then if I tap on a particular record, a particular field there, that opens up the editor for that field. So now I can go previous or next to go through all of the fields there, or I can go back to the form itself and then tap on a record. So what we're looking at over here is an example of Alpha's mobile optimized forms, because you can see that basically all the editing is done in these editors here. Now in this case we're just looking at very simple editors that don't do anything fancy, but if you look at the example videos that we have of mobile optimized forms, you can see that there's the possibility of creating very complex editors. So let's go back to the form itself, go back to say the first field there, and now make an edit. So we'll just basically say edited and then hit save, and then hit save again now. So you can see now that we're on the sync screen here and we have one edited record. So now let's go back to our search screen, and now let's type in, say, let's filter on, say, Mexico, and then hit filter. So there are the three records that have Mexico in the name. So I'll just tap over there now, and now tap over there and start editing this record. So I can go here and let's go and edit that value over there and just make some edit. So make this dirty and then hit save, and then hit save again, and now you can see we have two dirty rows. And then if we press the sync button over here at the bottom, basically this data will now be sent back to the server. Let me just reorient that, hit the sync button there. So we're continuing with our video now. So at this point we've got two records that were edited, and if I now go and press the sync button, oops, I just lost my, there we go. If I press the sync button now, a callback is made to the alpha server, and this dirty data gets submitted now as a JSON object. So I'm going to just go click OK. So now those two rows are marked as clean because they've been submitted to the server. And if we look on our server file over here and we just do a dir, basically you can see that actually we sent that file to another location. So let's just go here, bugs. So there's the data from the server that just got submitted. So this JSON file over here contains the records that were edited on the mobile device while we were disconnected, and now we can basically call into another service to actually push the data to your system of record. So if we go back to the phone right now and go now and just take a look around at a couple other things, we can go now to our menu and then go over here to utilities, and we can see that if I go here and click the button show files on device, you can see that we have the two files that were downloaded from the server. So these files over here that were on the server have now been downloaded, and they're sitting there on the files on the device. So that means that I'm able to work disconnected. And then of course if we go back to our search criteria there, let's go here and clear out the data. So going back to all of the records. So now we're looking at all of the records over here, and this, as I mentioned before, can be a very, very large file. Then when we go and tap on a particular record, there's the record. We can go now and edit it, and here we have this form. Now in this case, this form is just laid out as one field after another, but this form itself is just HTML and CSS. So any designer can go and create an arbitrarily complex or beautiful layout for this form, and then when you tap on any of these fields, that opens up the editor for that field. And in this case the editors are very simple. They're just text boxes, but the editors can be custom keyboards or specialized editors. They could be picture, you could take pictures, you can annotate those pictures with ink, and then you don't have to keep going back to the form itself. You can just, as we mentioned, you can just scroll through the individual fields in the form by tapping the next and previous button, and then when you make an edit you can save that to go back to the form, and then basically there's my edit in the actual data now ready to be synced. So what we've shown over here is a very simple proof of concept, but there's a lot of really powerful things going on, and this is a disconnected application that can work with many megabytes of data while disconnected. So hopefully that gives you a taste of what's possible with the Alpha Anywhere platform. Thanks very much.